I'm Davey from MKDVB. Another day, another Chase Bliss pedal. They're my favorite guitar pedal company, and today we're talking the Reverse Mode C. Now, I know it's the first in their new limited batch product line, but is it worth the price tag? Let's dig into it after the open. Now, when we're talking about music gear, it makes sense to start with the sound. The Reverse Mode C sounds really good, but it doesn't quite reach that level of analog mojo magic like the Moog analog delays do, or let's say, the tape echoes. It doesn't quite hit that level of mojo. I've never heard a guitar pedal hit those heights. Maybe it's the format, the smaller size, or the 9-volt power supply, or maybe they're mostly tuned for guitars in that sense. I don't know what the reason is. I've never hit that magic eyeballs roll in the back of my head sound from guitar pedal delay. That hasn't stopped me from amassing quite a collection anyhow. With that said, the Reverse Mode C sounds really, really good for a guitar pedal delay. What sets it apart is just how much ability I have to scope the sounds of those delays however I choose. So many options to mold your sound, and especially, right, what happens is that between like the modulation and the switches, you can really add the space back in between those delays and really carve out a place for these delays and for this pedal in a mix. That's the problem that I've had with some of the other Chase Bliss pedals in the past, like Therme or Habit, where they sound really cool, but they're always going. You just kind of wish they would just do a pause, a rest. I needed more space from these effects. And so the Reverse Mode C provides that. And that's one of my favorite things about it. Now, normally when I'm evaluating these pedals, I like to shoot them out versus other kind of comparable pedals. I even borrowed a Mood Mark II. Thanks, Doug. And I spent a day and I really struggled, and at the end I was like, these two pedals, they're not really that much alike. So I kind of paused on that. I already mentioned the Habit and Therme. They have aspects that are kind of maybe overlapping with Reverse Mode C. I prefer the Reverse Mode C and the ability to scope kind of more space into this versus those other two pedals. Like I said before, the ability to really scope the Reverse Mode C is probably my favorite thing about the pedal. Then I also have my Chase Bliss Blooper, which is usually my go-to when I want to get these otherworldly pitch shifting kind of delay sounds, right? The tape delay kind of warm, darker tones, maybe shifted down an octave, maybe we're shifting up an octave. But I usually have to do a lot of other pedals in conjunction with that and, really make use of the switches to really kind of hone a sound that I'm really attracted to. The Reverse Mode C kind of delivers similar sounds, but much, much faster. Another contender for kind of weird delays that I have in my collection is the Eventide Rose. That thing is just its own beast, it's probably the closest thing I have to like an analog delay in a pedal. And it does have a crazy amount of features, including a reverse, but it really doesn't feel as controllable. There's a lot more kind of menu divey, there's a lot of shift functions, and you really do have to reference the manual. Since I just said the word manual, this might be the simplest Chase Bliss pedal I've worked yet, right? Maybe that's why it's a limited edition. They focus on just one, preset or mode from a Empress effect in the past. It's just really easy to dial in. The delay lines are always synced to each other in various ratios. So it basically always sounds good. You don't have to work too hard and you get great sounds. In that way, it's a little bit reminiscent to me of one of my favorite pedals, the Hologram Microcosm. Another pedal where you just kind of so easy to pull awesome sounds from it. I think the Reverse Mode C actually feels like you're doing real work versus the Microcosm, which feels like you're cheating. But they're both kind of similar in terms of in the way that us synth players like to say, it's all sweet spot, right? The Reverse Mode C, always sounding good, is sometimes you hit a really, really awesome sound. So, what's the verdict? Is it worth $400? There are some people who would argue that no guitar pedal is worth $400. And hey, fair enough. I'm still on the fence on the Reverse Mode C. I really do appreciate how easy it is to create reusable sounds that actually I can put in a track. But I can also get some of those similar sounds from some of my other pedals in my rig. Whether it's worth it or not depends on your rig and where it fits in. I'm still on the fence, but there's no denying that's another quality product from Chase Bliss. You know, it's also a limited batch run, so they may or may not make more of these, and that does add to the allure, let's be honest, right? So they're kind of, Chase Bliss pedals are kind of collectibles. Yeah, I'm probably gonna hang out with it for a little bit, but with them just unexpectedly dropping lossy as well, and now I've got both these pedals in-house, you know, it's hard to say, right? I'm not sure, maybe down the line I may not keep both of them. But whenever I've been in the situation in the past where I'm thinking I'm only gonna keep one pedal or the other, you guessed it, I usually wind up keeping both. What can I say? Until next time, remember the music we make is more powerful than the music we consume. So keep jamming.